Okay, I'm Reverend Patricia Sunday, Sunday Ministries. We're doing a study in the Word, reading through the Bible, Genesis to Revelation. And we are now in the book of Joel, chapter 2. I think I left off with that we will not, his army, God's army, will not be put to shame. And so now we're in verse 27. And you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. I'm going to underline midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and there is none besides me, and my people shall never be ashamed. Now, who is he calling the midst of Israel? See, he's been talking about Zion, and he's been talking about the children of Zion. So he's talking about Israel. He's talking about all saved people. He's not just talking about the landmass of Israel. He's talking about his people. And Gentiles have become his people. Some Jews have, many Messianic Jews. But he's talking about all the saved people. We're not ashamed anymore. Because he says in verse 28, just what he said earlier, the former and the latter rain, it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids, and I'm a handmaiden. In those days will I pour out my spirit, and this is happening now. All over the internet, all over YouTube. If you haven't been noticing, listening to all the people who have been having dreams and visions and miracles happening to them, and how many people are preaching, how many people who are not even preachers preaching and ministering and doing a very good job of what the Lord gives them to do. Because we're not all, we each have our own part fit together in his puzzle. Verse 30, and I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth. Is he showing wonders in the heaven right now? August 21st, big eclipse. September 23rd, the big sign in the heavens. 7 years after that, April 8th, 2024, another big eclipse going the other way. And it forms a tav, a T, a cross over America. So something is he wants us to pay attention to, but we're not going out a defeated church. We're going out a glorious church. Now, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. So what we're seeing August 21st is a before the Lord comes. It's not the Lord coming August 21st. It's not the Lord coming September 23rd. These are the beginning of the signs, the beginning of what is about to transpire. And it shall come to pass that whoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord has said to the remnant whom the Lord has called. Let's circle remnant and underline whom the Lord has called. Not everybody is going to be saved. He wishes they were. At some point, after we're gone and after the earth is flipped and these things are gone, there will be, all Israel will be saved. Right now, all Israel being saved, all his people, the remnant that is left in Israel and in the United States and around the world. We haven't been suffering our heads being cut off yet, and that yet may come to America. I hope not, and we can pray not. We don't have to have ISIS flags on Disney World or anywhere in our country. We don't have to have ISIS flags because we can defeat ISIS with the power of our tongue if we'll just get busy and do it. Chapter 3. For behold, in those days and in that time. What days and what time? Let's circle those days and that time. I shall bring back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So something is going to happen that is going to bring the nation of Israel, the actual landmass of Israel, under captivity. And it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. That's the valley of decision, or the Armageddon, we call the valley of Armageddon. So there's going to be a terrible war right there in that area, and Israel is going to be captured once again. And but we see from the previous chapter, and see, you have to remember things are not chronological in the Bible. Even the chapters in certain books are not chronological. These fit on top of each other because chapter 3 fits on top of chapter 2, because right here it says they're going to be captured. Previously it said they were going to be delivered, didn't it? So you have to remember when you're reading verse where they're captured in verse 1, chapter 3, that verse 20 of chapter 2 will be the outcome of that. You see? So it just, you can't read the Bible chronological. You have to remember to take verses and match them up together. So, and this is talking about the Valley of Armageddon, the war that we're looking for right now. And it will be called World War III because it will include all the nations of the world, ones that are going to gather against Israel. That will not be the United States. That will be the United States fighting for Israel if we're not in such tremendous disevil here in America, earthquakes and tsunamis and whatever else might be happening at the time. I believe those things, not all those things are going to come upon us. We're going to go through the first 7 trumpets that is called. We go at the second woe, and I have a study on that. It's called Who Are the Two Prophets? The Two Witnesses and the Two Prophets. And I sneak in resurrection and rapture in that teaching because it's all tied together. And we are the two witnesses. We're the two prophets. The Lord's church, the Messianic Jews and the Gentile Christians. We are the two witnesses. Now, let's go. And I will enter into judgment with them there for the sake of my people and for the sake of my heritage Israel. We're the heritage Israel, okay? We're the ones that inherited the Gentiles. We were grafted into Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and they scattered them over in the United States mostly too. And because they have divided up my land, there you go. Right here in the Bible, circle, they have divided up my land. Something's going to happen that the land of Israel is going to be divided into a two-state solution because the United Nations is not going to rest until they do that. But that, to see, like right there, that's the end of verse 2. But we see the outcome of verse 2 in verse 1. And we see the outcome in verse 20 in chapter 2 to all of this. So you have to put it together in order. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given boys for the price of harlots, and sold the girls for wine that they might drink. In other words, that people have sold their children. They've sold their children into slavery. They've given over their children to God. And some of these actual children have been sold to and to, I venture to say, the Vatican, who are Satanists in control right now. Not that they're not good people in the Catholic Church that are saved and should be out, but I just want you to know that this is all tied together with that. What are you to me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? He's talking to Palestine, and this is literally the people of Palestine who are coming against people in the land of Israel. Are you paying me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own heads. There you go. Let's underline that. Will I return your recompense upon your own heads? So they're going to go in and they're going to capture Jerusalem. There's going to be a war there after the dividing of the land. Possibly the land will be divided after this. But I don't think so. I think it's going to be a two-state solution before we go. Because you have taken my silver. Now, who is he talking to? You've taken my silver. Who's he going to recompense on their own head? Let's find out. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, underline, and have carried into your temples my beautiful vessels. Whose temples got the Lord's vessels? Well, we know that the Catholic Church the Vatican has vast stores of things that were taken from Israel. I do know that the 12 bull basin went into the Mormon Church. So things have been divided up among major players in this end time movement. And the Mormon Church and the Catholic Church are tied together in this. And the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem you have sold to the Greeks, that you might remove them far from their own border. Behold, I will stir them up from the place to which you have sold them, and return your recompense upon your own heads. Okay, so again, it's talking about the Lord is going to repay them. And I will deliver your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. Wait a minute. Look at there. And I will deliver your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. Now, who would that be? Would that be Israel, or would that be the United States? For the Lord has spoken it. Verse 9. Proclaim this among the Gentiles, get ready for war. Stir up the mighty men, let all who will draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your sickles into spears. In other words, you better get all the weapons you can ready to go right now, America. You better put them together, Israel. These two countries, the world kind of hates us. They really do. And they hate us because we've stood with Israel and we are part of Israel. Assemble yourselves and come, all you nations round about. Draw near, and there will the Lord break your might. What does it say the Lord is going to do here? Underline, the Lord will break your might. So once Jerusalem is captured and they come in with this World War III, all the nations meeting there, who does it say is going to win? It says the Lord will break your might. So all the nations who come up against Israel will be defeated. All those nations will be defeated. Let the nations be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit to judge all the nations round about. Put in the sickles, for the harvest is ripe. Go in, tread down, for wheat pits are full. All right, so now we're seeing a war in Israel, okay? And I want you to draw near. I want you to draw a line from the valley of Jehoshaphat. Underline nations, and the valley of Jehoshaphat, and underline, I will sit to judge all the nations round about. Draw a line out, and I want you to write right here, the Lord will break your might. I want you to write Revelation 11, 1 through 15, because that is the rapture and the resurrection. The resurrection and the rapture, and I want you to also write Revelation 3, 3, and 4. That is the rapture. That is explaining the rapture. So we have the rapture in Revelation 3:3. We have the resurrection in Revelation 11:11. There's your synchronicity numbers, 3:3, 11:11. But all the verses around that apply to that. So you'll have to apply that. Now, this is when Israel is attacked and people lie dead in the streets of Israel, the land mass of Israel, in Jerusalem, which is the Revelation 11:1 through 15 scriptures. Revelation 3 scriptures fit in there too, because if there's going to be a resurrection, there's going to be a rapture. So you have to move Revelation 3 over to Revelation 11 and fit those together to see the whole picture. So if there's a resurrection, there's a rapture, and there are your rapture and your resurrection scriptures. And they match up to Joel here, where it says, "Let the nations be awakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the nations round about." Because what it says is when people lie dead in the streets of Jerusalem, in 3.5 days, they are resurrected. The Christians, or the Messianic Jewish people, there are 144,000 Messianic Jews. God knows who they are. He's been bringing them out of America and other countries back into Jerusalem. He knows who they are. They're Christians. They're Messianic Jews. 144,000 of them. They have been brought back into Jerusalem, and they will die. When those people die in 3.5 days, they will be raised up in the resurrection. And at the same time, in the twinkling of an eye, a moment later, all those living people who are still alive in America and around the world and in Israel right there, all the Christians will have died, but the Christians from around the world will be resurrected, those that are still alive and ready to meet the Lord. So this is a very important futuristic book, the book of Joel. So let's go on a few more scriptures. Verse 13, the sickles for the harvest is ripe. See, I just told you the harvest, let's circle that. The harvest is ripe. When this happens, when World War III happens, the first thing that happens when Israel is attacked and captured in 3.5 days is the resurrection and the rapture. It's right here in the Bible, as plain as day. We just have not seen it up until now. I can show you where it is in the books of the Bible also, but this is very important here in Joel. Okay. Go, put in the sickles, for the harvest is ripe. Go in, tread down for wheat. Let's underline. Who's the wheat? We're the wheat. Christians, saved people, saved Christians and Jews are the wheat. The wheat pits are full, and the wine presses overflow, for their wickedness is great. This is a dual picture. The wheat is the saved people who are going to be harvested. The wine press is overflowing. The cup of wrath is overflowing. In other words, we've done our job. We've preached the gospel. We're going to be doing this mighty part of this for 3.5 years, people. You better get ready and get your gifts all ready and get all prayed up and fasted up, because this is coming. And it's shortly upon us. Let's go to verse 14. An uproar and tumult in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Verse 15. Let's circle the number 15 here. The sun and moon are darkened, and the stars have withdrawn their shining. So it's given us years from now, this other one is coming back over America. So I'm looking at it this way. and I can't go back to it. But remember when Rachel, when Israel, when Jacob married Rachel, Leah, and then they had a wedding feast. Remember, there was a wedding feast after Jacob and Leah, because they had a wedding feast in the middle of the 7 years here and the 7 years here, because Israel had to work out another 7 years after the wedding feast. That's a picture right there in the book of Genesis of this. We're going to have 7 years we're going to walk through of a pretty good time here in America, other than what's going on now. I mean, we're going to have some bad things happen, but it's not going to be terrible until Israel is attacked. When Israel is attacked, the Christians, Messianic Jews and Gentile Christians, will be resurrected between 2 7-year periods. That's the middle of the 2 7-year period. This is why people who've been trying to figure out the rapture, the resurrection, have not been able to do it, because it has been, the Lord wasn't ready for us to know this just yet. And so there were so many different opinions on it. But He's letting us know now exactly how this is coming together, and He's showing it to me in a clear picture. Now, verse 16, the Lord shall also roar out of Zion. Let's underline roar out of Zion, and utter His voice, let's circle voice, from Jerusalem. In other words, He's going to be coming in the air, standing on the Mount of Olives. There will be a great earthquake. And Jerusalem and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord shall have pity upon His people and will strengthen the children of Israel. The ones that will be left after He's taken His people. Then you shall know. Then, let's circle then you shall know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Circle then again. Then Jerusalem shall be holy, and there shall be no more foreigners sojourn in it any more. So in other words, when this is over, Israel is going to be victorious against the northern army, which was in chapter 2, verse 20. Remember, we underlined northern army that they're all talking about. And it shall come to pass in that day, circle that day, that the mountains shall flow with milk, and all the brooks of Judah shall flow with water, and a fountain shall come forth from the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. That's also a double prophecy. When the earth, when all these things come about on the earth, the Lord is going to make Israel a valley, a Garden of Eden. And it will be that place that Abraham, Moses, and everybody wanted to get to and could not see. Verse 19, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah. God is going to recompense it upon their own head, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will avenge the blood, and I will not absolve the offenders, and the Lord will dwell in Zion. Now, does that mean that the Lord is literally going to come down and dwell on the earth in Jerusalem? No, I do not believe He is. I believe that we're going to go on. That is the Christ planet. It is called Chiron, the Christ planet. It is also called the wounded healer. People have known so much that we Christians don't know. The Vatican has hid so much knowledge, so much astronomical knowledge that we don't have of things of the past. But right here in Joel, it's telling us the full picture of what is going to happen. I've told you the land of Israel will be invaded and captured. This is after I believe that the land will be divided for peace. Perhaps they'll even be working on building their temple. I don't know about that. I know that we're the temple of the Holy Spirit that He's coming for. And I believe that we will be ruling over the earth. The earth is God's footstool, okay? His footstool is the earth. So we're going to be ruling and reigning with Him, where He's going to prepare that place for us over the earth, because the earth is His footstool. We are not going to be literally on the earth. We will have Jacob's ladder, just like the angels had. We'll be able to come and go to earth freely, because He's going to have jobs for us to do. We're not going to sit around play violin and harps, although I wouldn't mind learning to do that. But this is the scenario of how this is going to happen. It's all put here in the book of Joel for us, and many other books. So I'm going to be doing a few more and showing you how all this ties together with the book of Revelation, as the Lord has shown it to me. So please visit all my YouTube videos, because there's a little bit of information of different things crouched in some and hidden in other places that I may have not wanted certain things to be known publicly, that I've hidden away that you might want to see. So thank you. Join me again. Thank you for listening to the book of Joel in the name of Yeshua. Shalom.